as Obama's presidency is coming to an end, an effort has launched by human rights activists, by human rights organizations, and by his supporters to pardon Edward Snowden. And it's not just Edward Snowden, there's also other whistleblowers that these groups are asking for a pardon from President Obama. Obama could give them. I don't think it's likely, and I'll list my reasons. Now, first and foremost, should Obama pardon Snowden in particular? And understand a lot of what I'm going to say here, it could apply very well to other whistleblowers. But should Obama pardon Edward Snowden? Well, I think what should happen is that Snowden should get a fair trial. That's where I stand on the subject. And and the majority of Americans think that Snowden should face prosecution instead of getting a pardon. Hell, Snowden himself said he would be willing to face prosecution in a fair trial. And this is a significant point because he would not get the fair trial. He'd be charged under the Espionage Act, which is a complete perversion of what that act was supposed to do. That's designed for spies. It was created in 1917, the Espionage Act of 1917, if I'm correct on that. So you had World War I, the latter half of World War I, you had World War II, you had the Cold War. And yet, President Obama has charged more people under the Espionage Act that are whistleblowers than than all the other presidents combined. And you're looking at presidents who were through World War I, II, Cold War, and they had to face real threats. So if you want to make a point that Snowden should be charged because he risked the safety of the United States, understand that the United States had much rougher periods in history, and presidents didn't pervert the law the same way that Obama has. So as far as I'm concerned, if it's a case between him being charged under the Espionage Act and him getting a pardon, I think he should get the pardon. I think the ideal solution would be for him to face a jury trial, an open trial, and whether or not he's found guilty or innocent, well, you have a fair trial, and I think that's a very significant point. I think that's actually more important than whether or not Snowden walks free, though I think he should walk free, as far as I'm concerned. I think he revealed things that needed to be revealed, and things that, although embarrassed the United States, didn't really harm the United States. That's because Snowden was very careful with what he released, the information he released. He didn't release anything that got people killed, unlike others, which I will talk about later. Now, that's where I stand on what Obama should do. The question is, will Obama pardon Snowden? Well, no. I don't think he will. And I don't think he will on the basis of the fact that he's charged more people that are whistleblowers under the Espionage Act than all the other presidents combined. He doesn't consider, like his administration doesn't consider Snowden a whistleblower, when Snowden is the textbook definition of a whistleblower. And when you look at the political landscape, he has no reason to. He personally doesn't care much for these whistleblowers, otherwise he wouldn't pervert the law to charge them under the Espionage Act. So you've got that situation, that starting point. Now the human rights organization is saying, well, think of your legacy. Yeah, Obama wants Hillary Clinton to win the election because that's what matters when it comes to its legacy. Not that Hillary Clinton will do a good job or that Obama's legacy is worth a damn, but that's what Obama gives a damn about, his legacy, the legacy of his glorious administration. The legacy of his administration will be Libya, Syria, Iraq, ISIS, al-Nusra, which is Al-Qaeda in Syria. That will be the real legacy. The good things, meaningless in comparison to that. Anyway, Obama has no real political reason for it because the majority of the American public is against Snowden being pardoned. They think he should be prosecuted, which would probably be, which is why it would be smarter for Obama to, offer Snowden what he says he wants, which is a fair trial, and then see what Snowden does with that. If he accepts, that's You know, that you didn't get the fair trial. If he refuses, well, then Snowden is a hypocrite. I personally think he would accept, but that's just where I stand on that. But anyway, beyond legacy and personal perspective, Obama will never pardon Snowden while the election's still going on. Why? Because Hillary Clinton is deeply unpopular. The only way she's ever going to win, outside of Trump screwing up in some major way in October, and at the debate specifically, outside of that, the only way she's gonna win, the only way she has a chance of winning against Trump, is if she gets people like Obama, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden to campaign for her. And that's what's going on. Now, Obama has a 58% approval rating in the country. So he can't do something that the majority of the American public disagrees with. He can't do it. If he tries doing it, he will hurt Hillary's chances for electorally. Now, he might do something that's very unpopular, which is to veto a bill that passed unanimously through the Senate and through the House of Representatives, which is a bill that allows the families of the victims of 9/11 to sue the Saudi government, and Obama says he'll veto that. But you know that could very well blow up in his face. But he has an interest there because he's thinking of the geopolitical chessboard, and he might be willing to pay the political cost. And make no mistake, he does that. There will be hell to pay for Obama. So he has little incentive before the election, zero incentive. He gains nothing. Now, after the election, well, would he do it? I don't think so. I think that there's political reasons why he wouldn't do it. If Hillary wins, he pardons Snowden, he's giving her a poison pill right from the start of her presidency. The Republicans will take every opportunity to shred Hillary Clinton if she becomes president, and this would just give them a lot of ammunition. Again, the majority of the country is against Snowden getting pardoned, so you have that state of affairs. I think it's the difference is like 10 points or something like that. And I think over 60% of the people in the United States view Snowden as a traitor. I'm not sure about the recent polls. And it obviously might change with the movie. Like, they launched this push with the release of the Snowden movie, so that might change. That might be subject to change. So he doesn't want to poison Hillary. But even if Trump wins, don't think that changes much. Why? Because in 2018, in the midterm elections, the Democrats have a horrible map. In fact, it's so bad for them that they might end up in a situation where the Republicans have over 60 Senate seats, have at least 60 Senate seats, which obviously causes a lot of problems for Democrats, especially if Trump wins. Because then they can break a filibuster, which is their own votes. They don't need to get any Democrat to vote on any bill. They can do pretty much what they want at that point. Well, mostly what they want. And then you have a problem. Then the Democrats have a problem. So Obama has no reason, either personal, from a legacy standpoint, or politically, electorally, to pardon Snowden. So he's not going to do it. As much as, personally, I think Snowden shouldn't be exiled for the rest of his life in Russia. I think he should get a fair trial, but these are the political realities of the world. Now, that's on Snowden. Now, I think Snowden deserves credit because he shared the information that needed to be shared, and he didn't get people killed. But there's also a push to get Chelsea Manning pardoned. Now, when it comes to Chelsea Manning, who tried to commit suicide, by the way, because of the terrible prison conditions, and is now faced with solitary confinement for years, by the way, for a long period of time. I'm not quite sure for how long they put her under solitary confinement, but it's pretty bad. It's a terrible situation, and she faces a disciplinary hearing on that subject. So terrible prison conditions. But here's the thing about Chelsea Manning. Despite that, you have a much weaker argument when trying to defend Chelsea Manning than when it comes to Edward Snowden. Whereas you can make the argument that Edward Snowden was careful, that he wasn't reckless with what he revealed. Manning was very fucking reckless. And I mean so reckless that the information Chelsea Manning released led to the Arab Spring, at least in part. It was basically the smoking gun that people were looking for in Arab countries, especially when it came to Tunisia, where it all started, which led to the shithole that is the Middle East today. So, Chelsea Manning, the actions, the leaks, at least some of them, led to hundreds of thousands of people getting killed in wars in Libya and Syria and Iraq. The Arab Spring, and just for a record, the whatever responsibility Manning has in all of this comes nowhere close to the responsibility of Hillary Clinton, Obama, Bush, and all that, just to be clear on that, or the various politicians in those countries. But it did contribute. What Manning leaked did contribute to the state of affairs in the Middle East. So yes, there's a weaker argument when it comes to pardoning Manning, because hundreds of thousands of people are dead in the Middle East, partly because of the information that was leaked. The diplomatic cables, to be precise here. That's where I stand on the issue. Now, do I feel that Chelsea Manning should be kept in the same prison conditions? No. I think it's pretty cruel. But at the same time, the argument for Snowden is stronger than the one for Manning. And the point on that, although there is a point that Snowden is a fugitive, that's basically what he is, so that kind of weakens the argument for pardoning him by quite a bit. It just, just something to take into consideration. I very much doubt Obama will pardon anyone that he's sentenced for whistleblowing, any whistleblower that was sentenced under his administration. I would be very surprised if that happened. I think it would be good if it happened, at least, at least with Chelsea Manning, who is probably at the point where if she stays in prison, she's going to end up dead. And regardless of how reckless her actions were, and they were extremely fucking reckless, extremely reckless, I don't think she deserves to end up in a situation where she commits suicide over this. That's where I stand on that issue. I don't think Obama will care. I don't think Obama has any political reason to care. And I don't think he will think... And look, people try and make the legacy argument. If the Democrats get destroyed in the Senate, his legacy will mean zero. If Hillary Clinton suffers politically, even if she wins the election, his legacy means zero. And if Hillary Clinton loses the election, his legacy means zero. A lot of things Obama did in terms of internal policy are related to executive orders. This is why he's so desperate for Hillary Clinton to win. That's why he says things like, I would be personally insulted if the black community doesn't mobilize enough to elect Hillary Clinton. Because he knows a lot of the things he did are related to executive orders. Because the Republicans and Democrats... the situation has become a very partisan situation. So, for Obama, he has no reason to do it at all. In fact, I think out of all the presidential candidates right now, I think the only one that would probably do it would be Jill Stein. I don't think even Gary Johnson would do it. I think the only one who would do it is Jill Stein. That's where I stand on this issue. Trump certainly won't do it. Like, I support Trump. I'm not blind of where he stands on things. That, supporting a candidate doesn't mean you agree with everything they say or every position they take. Certainly, that's not where I stand. Anyway, that's all I had to say on the subject. That Snowden movie is probably going to be, it's probably very interesting. I haven't watched it yet. It's something I recommend people do watch, because Snowden is a very interesting case as a person. Anyway, Costin here, signing out. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video.